So good day everyone, this is Princess Malayha Palaguyan and this is the continuation of my report. So we got off at around emotional self-regulation, and for the continuation, here we are again at emotional self-regulation. So what is emotional self-regulation? So, emotional self regulation refers to the ability to manage and control one's own emotion in order to cope with different situations effectively. It involves the capacity to recognize and understand one's own emotions and to use strategies to regulate and modify them in response to changing circumstances. Emotional self regulation involves skills such as impulse control, self awareness, emotional awareness, empathy, and social cognition. Effective emotional self regulation can help individuals maintain positive relationships, achieve goals, and cope with stress and challenging situations. So, social and emotional competencies and self regulation are critical for both academic and emotional development. Individuals who effectively interpret emotions in themselves and others, like anxiety, anger, frustration, or excitement, identify effective goals that incorporate those emotional signals and eventually regulate emotions and behavior in ways that maximize successful engagement and in social situation. These individuals possesses high emotional intelligence. School days can be filled with all kinds of emotions. Some are helpful for learning, but some are not. Teachers and students need effective coping strategies to address the emotional aspects of a social or learning situation so that emotions become assets and not barriers to successfully achieving educational goals. These coping strategies include a broad range of skills, including emotional self regulation. So, to illustrate these important strategies, the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, or CASEL, lists 5 core social and emotional skills and competencies. These are self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. So we go first at self-awareness. So self-awareness is about accurately assessing your feelings, interests, values, and strength. Maintain a well-grounded self-confidence. So to elaborate, self-awareness refers to the ability to reflect and understand one's own thoughts, feelings, and behavior. It involves a deep understanding of one's own identity, value, and beliefs, as well as an ability to recognize and manage one's own emotions. Self-awareness can be both internal and external. Internal self-awareness involves understanding of one's own thoughts and feelings, while external self-awareness involves understanding how others perceive us and how our behavior impacts those around us. So now, we go at self-management. So self-management is about regulating your emotions to handle stress, control impulses, and persevere in overcoming obstacles. Setting and monitoring progress toward personal and academic goals, expressing emotions appropriately. So, to elaborate, self-management refers to the ability to regulate one's own emotion, thoughts, and behaviors in order to achieve personal goals. It involves skills such as self-control, adaptability, and self-motivation. Example of self-management includes setting priorities, managing time effectively, and staying calm under pressure. So let's move on. Social awareness. It's about taking the perspective of and emphasizing with others, recognizing and appreciating individuals and group similarities and differences, and also recognizing and using family, school, and community resources. So, social awareness refers to the ability to understand and empathize with the emotions, needs, and perspective of others. It involves skills such as active listening, empathy, and perspective taking. Example of social awareness includes recognizing when someone is upset and responding appropriately or understanding the cultural norms and expectation of a particular group. So let's move on. Relationship skills. So it's about establishing and maintaining healthy and rewarding relationship based on cooperation, resisting inappropriate social pressure, preventing, managing, and resolving interpersonal conflict, and also seeking help when needed. So social relationship skills refers to the ability to communicate effectively, build and maintain positive relationships, and resolve conflicts in a constructive way. This include skills such as communication, collaboration, and negotiation. So example of relationship skills include being able to express oneself clearly, actively listening to others, and finding mutually beneficial solution to disagreements. So lastly, responsible decision making. So making decision based on consideration of ethical standards, safety concerns, and appropriate social norms, respect for others, and likely consequences of various action. So applying self-decision making skills to academic and social situation can contribute to the well-being of one's school and community. So responsible decision making involves making choices based on ethical ethical considerations, safety concerns, and well-being of oneself and others. So it involves skills such as problem solving, critical thinking, and weighting the potential consequences of different choices. Example of responsible decision making includes choosing not to engage in risky behavior, considering the impact of one's action on others, and seeking out information based on making a decision. Again, all of these are important for social and emotional development and are commonly referred to as CASAL competencies by the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning. So by developing these skills, individuals can become more effective communicators, build stronger relationships, and make responsible decisions that benefit themselves and others. So developing emotional self-regulation is especially important in the early years when students are learning how to learn in school. For example, an example is Carlos Valiente and his colleague followed almost 300 students through kindergarten to assess the relationship between effortful self-control, emotionality, and academic achievement. And they found that the students' anger, sadness, and shyness were negatively related to achievement, and self-control was positively related to achievement, particularly for students who showed lower levels of negative emotions. Clearly, helping students develop emotional self-regulation can set them on a good path for learning in school, increase their resilience, and probably can help them in social relationship with the first peers as well. So how can the teacher help? So the first way, says Daniel Goleman, is by setting an example. The teacher ideally would model emotional and social competence for students. And additionally, furthermore, there's these guidelines encouraging emotional self-regulation to give us some ideas of practices that promote emotional regulation. So I won't be diving deep into this, so you may look at the guidelines and read for self-learning. So yes, thank you. So now let's move on at teaching towards self-efficacy and self-regulated learning. So those teachers who are most effective at handling stressors in the classroom demonstrate both the high level of teaching self-efficacy and a positive level of emotional regulation. The most commonly reported sources of teacher stress are students' misbehavior, interpersonal challenges, and work-related pressures such as meeting standards. So teachers are more likely to maintain a healthy and professional life if they can manage professional stressors such as students' disruption and pressure from parents without becoming emotionally charged, keeping things in perspective, and seeking support from their peers. So, through the application of the five core values of Cassell, we have an example of scenarios that may possibly help the teachers to handle such situation in the future. So let's go back to the five core social and emotional skills and competencies. So by using that example, student misbehavior, in a classroom setting, student may display various forms of misbehavior such as disruptive behavior, non-compliance, or aggression. So teachers can use the social and emotional skills to respond to this behavior effectively. So let's go with the self. First, self-management. So teachers can regulate their own emotion and avoid reacting impulsively to misbehavior. They can also model self-control and positive behavior for their students. And social awareness, teachers can recognize and empathize with the emotions and needs of their students. They can use active listening and perspective taking to understand the underlying causes of misbehaviors. So, relationship skills. Here, teachers can build positive relationship with their students by showing respect, establishing clear expectations, and providing positive feedback. They can also use conflict resolution and problem solving skills to address misbehavior in a constructive way. So, for the responsible decision making, teachers can make responsible decisions by choosing appropriate consequences for misbehavior based on the best interest of the students and the classroom community. They can also involve students in the decision-making process to promote their ownership and accountability. So that's just one of the lot of possible examples of right there. So let us move on. So there's this one promising practice that received recent support and research is providing teachers mindfulness training. So mindfulness training help teachers focus attention and emotional resources on the present situation without judgment, recognizing and releasing unnecessary expectation and biases, and also developing greater compassion for self and others. But what exactly is mindfulness training? So, mindfulness training is a practice that involves paying attention to the present moment with a non-judgmental attitude. So, the goal of mindfulness training is to increase awareness of one's thoughts, emotions, and sensations, and to develop greater control over one's mental processes. Mindfulness training can be beneficial for reducing stress, improving emotional regulation, and enhancing overall well-being. So I have here some example of mindfulness training. So the first one is breathing meditation. So this involves focusing on the sensation of breathing, such as the rise and fall of the chest or the sensation of air moving in and out of the nose. The goal is to pay attention to the breath without judgment and to bring back to the breath whenever it wanders. Next is body scan. So body scan involves paying attention to the sensations in different parts of the body, from toes to the top of the head. Its goal is to notice any areas of tension, discomfort, or relaxation, and to observe them without trying to change them. The third example is mindful eating. So this involves paying attention to the sensory experience of eating, such as the taste, texture, and the aroma of the food. The goal is to eat slowly and mindfully, savoring each bite and being fully present with the experience of eating. So we also have loving kindness meditation. So this involves cultivating feelings of kindness and compassion towards oneself and others. The goal is to repeat phrases such as, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be safe, may I be at ease," while visualizing oneself or others. So the last example is mindful movement, which involves paying attention to the physical sensation of movement, such as the feeling of muscles contracting and releasing during exercise or sensation of walking or stretching. The goal is to bring awareness to the body and to the present moment while engaging in physical activities. So these are just a few examples of mindfulness training exercises. The key is to engage in the practice regularly with an open and non-judgmental attitude in order to develop a greater mindfulness and self-awareness. So, over time, mindfulness training can lead to improved emotional regulation, increased self-awareness, and a greater sense of well-being. So, it says here that teachers who were randomly assigned to receive emotional skills, mindfulness, stress reduction, and compassion training showed significant gains in well-being, self-efficacy, and mindfulness, along with reduced burnout compared with teachers assigned to a control group. So that would be all for my report. I hope you guys learned a lot and thank you very much. Have a nice day ahead.